CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us now from Warren, Michigan. Good morning to you again, Ed. You know, Trump rallies always attract the faithful, but, you know, Michigan is interesting because with its manufacturing hubs, it could very well be hit hard by tariffs and has been struggling in general. So how did the president navigate that topic?
By delivering a bit of a gift to them yesterday, Errol, good morning, good to see you. He announced that while you're still going to see automakers paying tariffs on imported cars and on imported auto parts, they're going to get a pass on a tariff essentially on the raw supplies for those auto parts, steel and aluminum specifically. This was cheered by the big three and others that make cars in this country as a great example of getting at least a little relief. But ultimately, it's still going to cost more to make a car with these tariffs, and it's still going to cost you a lot more to buy a new one.
Now, I know that you actually spoke with auto workers there who were furloughed before Trump took office, we should make clear. But what did they tell you about what they're dealing with?
Well, and it's a good example, Errol, of while the president claims that things are in good shape, the reality on the ground, especially in this key state, is a little different, at least for many. We spoke with Scott Duty and Tabitha Noble, two workers that were furloughed before he took office, not because of tariffs, but because of just sort of the general issues of the auto industry and the way it's adapting and changing its labor practices. And we said, look, you know, what's it like being in that position and having to worry about the cost of things? Take a listen.
You know, your food went up, gas went up, our wages went down.
Utility bills have went up, groceries have went sky high, unemployment's went up. Every day somebody's closing their doors because nobody's going in to buy anything.
And the silver lining in that reality for those workers, at least for the president, is the idea that a lot of workers like them appreciate and understand what it is the president's trying to do with tariffs, which is to try to drive American manufacturing and much more manufacturing into this country to create the kinds of jobs that they can fill. But they realize that there's going to be some short-term pain for them.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The reality they just laid out is being repeated all over the country. I think there's so many people who can empathize with that. The White House called out Amazon yesterday based on reports that it was planning to display the added cost of tariffs on goods, but the company says that's not the case. What's going on there?
So the initial report was that if you opened up the Amazon app or went to Amazon.com, they'd post the price, and next to it would be an explainer of how much the tariffs were costing you. The White House very quickly yesterday morning called that out as a hostile and political act, so much so that just a little while later, the company clarified or claimed that it was never a plan for it to be on the broader Amazon site, but instead just on the smaller Amazon Haul site, which sells lower cost goods, and that ultimately it was an idea that's not going to be implemented. And we should point out the president, before he came here to Michigan, said he had called Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, to express his displeasure. He says Bezos, quote, solved the problem very quickly and ultimately, quote, did the right thing. Critics say it's yet another example of a corporate leader bending to pressure from the president. Errol?
All right, Ed O'Keefe with all of that, joining us from Michigan. Thanks, Ed.